Hey everyone, welcome to a design minute. This one we're going to focus on design hierarchy. So what does that mean? Hierarchy refers to the intentional arrangement of elements to establish a visual order and guide the viewer's eye through a composition, emphasizing the importance of different elements. Designers will cleverly use various visual design principles and can guide its audience through a website, magazine poster, just about anything. So that's kind of your official definition. So, what exactly does that mean? Well, hierarchy refers to how you arrange text, use text, images, icons, buttons, patterns, all sorts of those type of things. How you arrange and lay those out on a page in relation to each other um, will create a flow for your viewer or audience. And through clever manipulation of all those elements, you can guide your user to the specific information that you need. Now, why would that matter? Well, if you're a company selling something online, your end goal is to get them to purchase stuff online. So, using hierarchy, you can showcase specials, you can um, guide your user from sale to sale, uh, you can kind of guide them throughout the whole checkout process. You can subtly influence their way into a purchase, right? And it might sound a little wrong, but it's not like that at all. So let me show you an example of how hierarchy can kind of guide your user, right? Whoops, a little too sensitive on the scroll wheel. So looking at this thing, you're going to read this first. You will read this first, and then you'll read this next line. And then you'll probably read this before the paragraph. You might even come back up to read this before this, right? Just because of how much empty space this is, you might come back up here and read that. But you can see how through the use of various size, placement, and proximity to each other, you're guided through this journey, right? This is the biggest thing, it's going to draw your eye. Then this is the second biggest thing, that's going to take your attention. This is a little line and this is all the same color. So you think it's part of that same thought. So you might go there, right? And then from here, you might either go here or with all this empty space, you might go back up here, right? Because it's a smaller thing. Your mind might just subconsciously be like, oh, well, this is the smaller text. Let me read that first. So you guys can see firsthand kind of how this works and how it's important. So why does it matter? Well, it improves readability. You can guide your users through content in attended order. And you can also help important information stand out. So let's look at a bad example of hierarchy. Um, why is this bad? Well, everything is competing for attention, right? Everything's fighting itself for attention. Everything's fighting the thing next to it. It's fighting the thing on the opposite side of the page or the layout. There's too much bright colors. Your eye doesn't know where to go, right? Now this very clean, simple layout, big bright colors on the right hand side lead you over here. Maybe this is where your eye goes first because of how heavy the contrast is, right? But it's got you here. There's a clear flow to where they want you to go. They want you to start here, maybe read this and go here, right? From here, draw your eye over on this image, and then you'll transition to here and over there. You'll do kind of like a C map pattern. And there is a whole thing about it looks more professional as well, right? So that inspires trust and faith in the company. So how do we create hierarchy? Well, there's various design principles. The other design minutes, I believe, will go into it a bit more. So I don't want to harp too long on this section, but you can manipulate it through various ways. Sizes. If one thing's bigger than the rest, it's going to stand out. Bigger header text will always stand out more than the body text. If everything is pretty much one color and then you have one thing that's pink, that's going to stand out because it's so different. Similar to what I said right here, because of how this is just like a big thing of black and this is all white. it stands out a little bit, right? Repetition. By repeating things and then excluding a thing that's repeating can create a hierarchy and establish a way of viewing that people are already experienced with. Different colors can help things stand out and pop, right? The bright green of this, the red against the yellow backgrounds, helping create that pop. Um, alignment. Alignment, everything should always be aligned. You got to make sure things are aligned because then you can guide your user from one thing to the next thing. Proximity, keeping things in relation to each other, similar colors, keeping them close, having this line to kind of flow and create it will create proximity. Different textures and styles can help things stand out as well. There's other things as well. Use of white space, for example, in text. Text is a big one. So most people, when they look at something online, especially, they typically view it in one of two ways. They do a typical either F pattern or a Z pattern, right? Depending on how it's laid out. Knowing going into a design, knowing kind of how people already think of things can allow you to establish a hierarchy that's more understandable to your user without them having to acclimate or go against what they already expect to see, right? And think about every website you've seen. Your logo is typically up top, navigation, maybe like a sign up or something, big hero image, and then you'll go down to the bottom and there might be um, some information and then like another like button or a card, a feature of some sort. The F pattern is more kind of for like newspaper type articles or yeah, news websites, YouTube, things along those lines are kind of like an F pattern, right? They'll look at the first thing, then they'll go to the right to see what else. And you'll notice like on the second one, or I guess this tier, number three, right? They don't go as far. And then when they go to five, they don't really typically go that far. So um, this really helps you establish a hierarchy when you're placing things because you're going to want to place more important things right where the viewer's eye is going to naturally go to. And just to kind of give you another example of how just a slight more attention to hierarchy can really improve a design, right? All this is they increase the name, added a little bit of color, but this looks so much better on the right side than the left side, right? The left side's fine, but everything is kind of the same weight. Everything has the same uh weight. So everything is kind of competing for itself other than her in the little image of her. Whereas this one, her name immediately stands out. And then you're given whatever her company is, uh, her phone number, and then a way to contact her through email. Even though it's the same layout, the flow of this one is a lot better. And lastly, if you're ever struggling to kind of understand your own hierarchy, my little tip is the squint test. If you're not sure about your hierarchy, take about like, 5 feet away and squint your eyes. Really try to get it blurry, similar to the example, and you'll see kind of how things stand out without the details. So, looking at these two examples, where does your eye kind of go? Well, it probably goes here, maybe here, right? I pretty sure kind of for me goes like this. Here, and then I jump down to this button and then I come back up here, right? And the reason that is because this color is at the top of the page. It has a little bit more color than the rest and the placement. It is a little tiny in comparative to this, so this might be where your eyes first kind of go. But if your eyes do go here, you typically transition to here because it's right under and of how much big block it is, and then you might come down here. So that's kind of a good way to test and see how it works for you. So always ask yourself when you're designing, what should the viewer see first? What should they see next? All right, folks. This has been Hierarchy. If you guys have any questions or concerns, need extra clarification, reach out. You guys got this.